All right, there's a lot on this month's council meeting agenda. If you'd like to go through the whole thing in detail, all the information is available on the website as always. But tonight I'm going to try and go through just a few of the more interesting things and give you a little bit of a summary. One of the first things that I think is really interesting is the council's proposed policy change on single-use plastics and the release of helium balloons. Now, this one's gotten a lot of attention, and there was a huge response to the proposal when it was open for public comment, and I'm pretty certain it's going to go through without any issues, which I think is fantastic. Now, the second thing on the agenda for tomorrow night is the Coastal Hazard Risk Management and Adaptation Plan, which, if it passes tomorrow night, as I hope it will go out for public comment, and this is going to be huge. What this is looking at the council's or the city's plans for the next 100 years or more as a response to rising sea levels and global warming. Now, we enjoy miles and miles of coast, and we're already seeing the effects of sea level rise and erosion and that type of thing impacting on some areas, especially around Safety Bay. So when this document comes out for public comment, I'm really going to be hammering it hard and trying to make sure as many people as possible see it, because it is probably one of the, if not the most important thing that the city is going to be facing in the next 100 years. All right, so continuing on with the planning and engineering section of the agenda, the next few items get a little bit technical. There's changes to the structure plan in Golden Bay. There's a scheme amendment for a variety of areas around Rockingham. There's a proposed childcare centre in Baldivis. And then there's a proposed mobile phone tower to go behind the Shell service station down in Singleton. Again, if you're interested in a little bit more detail on all that kind of stuff, because it is quite technical, but all the reports are available in the agenda, which is on the website as always. Then the on-street parking down on the Rockingham foreshore. Now, in response to some public complaints about a lack of parking, the city investigated a number of areas in which new parking bays could be installed, and one of those was along the esplanade, right in front of the houses next door to the Cruising Yacht Club, along with some other areas one street back. That went out for public comment. A lot of feedback came back, and the officers now have a recommendation as to where we should put in some extra parking, some line marking, but that doesn't include parking along the esplanade. The theory was that what we would gain in a couple of extra parking bays, we lose in terms of amenity because of the scenery and how nice it is to drive along that part of the road and be able to look out over the coast. Now, the last item on the planning and engineering section of the agenda is the draft policy on verge development. So basically what materials are allowed to be used on the verge and what aren't. Now, this has been a hot topic for a long time. Everybody seems to have really strong opinions one way or the other. I think my thoughts on it are fairly well known. I'm not exactly a fan of synthetic lawn. I think it's horrible plastic stuff. But if you're allowed to use it on your property, I don't really see a reason why you shouldn't be allowed to have it on the verge as well, as long as it's maintained in a way that's safe and doesn't prevent a tripping hazard and that type of thing. But assuming this policy gets passed tomorrow night, it's going out for public comment, so everyone will have the opportunity to have their say and help shape the policy moving forward. Then moving on into the corporate and community development section of the agenda, the first item up is the city business plan, which basically sets out all the work the city is going to be doing up until 2029. So it's something that's updated every year, but it's always working to a 10-year plan, and that covers everything from the fees and charges that are charged for registering your dog or hiring the Gary Holland Centre, through to rates and what construction plans or new facilities are going to be built and that type of thing. The city business plan, like everything else, is always available online. It's a huge document, but it covers everything in the tiniest little amount of detail. So if you ever have any questions as to what the city's doing and why it does it, other than asking your councillors, the city business plan is always a good place to start. Now, the tourist destination strategy has come back from public comment, and it's had a few changes put into it. I think everyone realises this is one that's that's really important to me. I've been a big part in getting it to this point, and I'm really, really pleased to see that we're hoping to get it endorsed tomorrow night. Tourism has the potential to be such a huge industry in Rockingham, and we are underperforming. I think we've got a lot of natural assets that aren't getting promoted as well as they could be, and the tourism destination strategy is the first step in changing that. And the city officers that wrote it and put in a lot of work have done a fantastic effort. So the last item on the agenda that I'm going to give a bit of a summary about is the Rockingham Youth Centre concept plan. So a couple of months ago, the city bought a building not far from the council buildings, just off Council Ave, and the plan is that we're going to redevelop it into a youth centre, which is much needed in the area, and it's going to provide a lot of services, everything from health services and career guidance and counselling and all that type of thing, to the youth of Rockingham. The plans are in their early stages, but again, they're available online if you want to have a look, and I think it's going to be a fantastic little place.